ナオフミちゃんが心配してくれるなんてお姉さん嬉しい。
おい、くっつくな。
いいじゃない。こんな機会めったにないんだから。
What's going on, my friends? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Episode number 11 of Rising of the Shield Hero, Season 4, as we only have one episode left after today. I don't want to use the word confused, okay? I'm not completely confused, but at the same time, I'm not with it. So any color you guys can provide in the comments and any theories of what you think, what your take is on what's happening, let me know in the comments. And of course, if you actually know, based off, because you're familiar with source material or whatever, I definitely still want to hear you in the comments for sure. But don't spoil it, maybe just drop a hint or two. Now, this episode ended off with not Sadeena. What's her name? The 𝐒𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥. So it ended up with the other whale girl, and I guess her soul was taken out and was replaced with the Oracle. And it looks like the Oracle is probably an ancestor of Raphtalia. And she left her soul in a card, so she kind of knew what could potentially happen. She had options because she's part of the Oracle or whatever. So she kind of knew what was going to happen. She left it when she proposed to 𝐜𝐴𝐴. So this, other whale girl, Sadeena's little sister. Sadeena didn't know she had a little sister, and we got a really good backstory of, when Sadeena left, she kind of overtook the position, but Sadeena didn't know that she existed, and she kind of, left her family and everything, and they had another child. Her name is 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐿, so close, close Sadeena, 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐿, whatever. So we got a good backstory of, how she took up the mantle, how she was always compared to Sadeena, but, she never met her, didn't know her. And it's like death by comparison in a way. And she also has the ability of the Oracle. Now, at the end of the episode, like I said, the Oracle overtook her body, overtook her soul. Her soul was taken out and transferred into the card that 𝐜𝐴𝐴 carries. So now they're going to go and try and get her body back. The confusion part, or like the confusing part, is how did that happen? How did this... Who is this Oracle? Again, my guess is she's an ancestor of Raphtalia. Maybe not her mother. Maybe her grandmother or grandmother's grandmother or something. She's... And she took over her body. So she's back in this world again. And then the other question is, she went to go immediately attack the capital. So why? She didn't immediately attack the Shield Hero or the future Heavenly Emperor or, the previous 𝐒𝐴𝐴, as she stated. She went to go attack the capital. Why? I guess that's the question. It's like, why? What is she trying to accomplish? Is she trying to take over once again? Is she trying to take over 𝐜𝐴𝐴𝐴? Now she has a body? Is she just trying to destroy the current regime? It's kind of left up in the air. I will say this was a really good episode. I want to make that clear. And one of my favorite parts of this episode was Sadeena answering a question I've had of like, does she love 𝐜𝐴𝐴? She's always flirtatious and flirty, but does she love 𝐜𝐴𝐴? I think my answer there is yes. And even 𝐒𝐴𝐴 is like, oh, you're Sadeena's lover? You know what I mean? And he's like, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it, fam. But definitely it is it. And I kind of love that. I think Sadeena is one of my favorite characters in the show. So I definitely really love that, and I love the way that she reacted. And I love how concerned, obviously, 𝐜𝐴𝐴 was as well, too. And I like his little tiny relationship that we've gotten so far with 𝐒𝐴𝐴𝐴. Outside of that, though, the fight between 𝐒𝐴𝐴𝐴 and Sadeena was pretty good. I like seeing the Thunder God move. 𝐒𝐴𝐴𝐴's transformation was pretty cool. She was like... I thought that was pretty cool. And considering that she didn't really have a... Not tutor. But the mantle wasn't passed to her as she was like taught to take over. It was just like Sadeena left and she just kind of learned on her own. Considering how powerful she is, I think that's pretty cool. So now, obviously 𝐜𝐴𝐴𝐴 went to go save her. And they're going to face off against you know, the ancestor or whatever. So that should be pretty interesting as well too. So definitely a good episode. Some confusing bits. We can kind of guess, you know, we can kind of guesstimate like, okay, she was Raphtalia's ancestor. We don't know how far back. She was trying to get a body. She was, you know, kind of going through oracles. She probably died at some point and figured out this soul transfer ability, or it's constantly been passed via the card that 𝐒𝐿𝐷ina had. And it's probably the same card that maybe Sadeena had that she kind of left behind. So maybe that ancestor's been trapped in the card the whole time, and she kind of accessed that power so that she could win. But by accessing that power, that opened her up to being taken over. That was probably an anecdote that wasn't passed down. It was just something that is part of it, and that's probably why Sadeena left, or one of the reasons. And that's part of the reason where 𝐒𝐿𝐷ina kind of put two and two together of like, oh yeah, I can kind of see me being taken over. So that's why she preemptively planned for me to have her soul card. Doesn't really come into play, but I'm sure we'll get questions answered next episode as we come across to the last episode of the season. So yeah, other than that, fantastic episode. Really loved it quite a bit. So I'll see you guys next week for the final episode of Shield Hero. All right, my friends. Peace out.